A few months ago, I voluntarily had a guy cut open my balls, and I'd let him do it again. Hey guys, I'm Cedric Dickery, and today I want to talk to you about my vasectomy, why I did it, what the procedure was like, how recovery went, and I also want to answer a few questions that I keep on getting. Why I got a vasectomy. The biggest reason is actually really simple. I don't want to be a dad. I really don't. And I've known that for years and I don't see that changing. On top of that, I'm intimate with other people for work. So for me, it just made sense. It's one less thing to worry about. And having a vasectomy done makes accidental pregnancy basically impossible. I've been thinking about it for quite a while, and over time I met more and more people who had actually already done a vasectomy, and all of them told me the same thing. It's not that bad. Eventually, I mentioned it to Sophie, and she offered to pay for it as my combined Christmas and birthday gift, which is honestly the sweetest gift I've ever gotten. Cost and finding a doctor. The whole thing cost €550. That includes the procedure itself and 2 follow-up fertility checks afterwards. Since it's an elective procedure, health insurance generally doesn't cover it. At least in Germany it doesn't. That might be different somewhere else. Finding a doctor was actually pretty easy. 2 friends of mine went to the same doctor and recommended him, so I just booked a consultation. By that point, I had done quite a lot of research, so the actual consultation was pretty short. He explained the procedure, he asked if I had any questions, I said no, and then we basically just booked an appointment. The day of the procedure. I was super nervous. I'm really not good with medical settings. I knew it was not gonna be a huge deal, but still, someone was about to cut open my balls, and that doesn't sound great. But luckily, Sophie came with me, and that really helped with my nerves. The doctor's office is actually on the ground floor of what seems to be his house, so we just walked in there, and he was already sitting there in his scrubs. I signed a few consent forms and confirmed one more time that I really wanted to go through with the procedure, and then we already headed to the operating room. Sophie went to the bathroom shortly after we arrived, and by the time she got out, we were almost finished already. From walking in the front door and walking out again, it took about 15 minutes, so it was really short. What the procedure actually felt like. So here's what it was like from my perspective. I walk into the operating room, I undress halfway, I was kind of Winnie the Poohing it, and lay down on the medical chair. The doctor then takes a sponge with something on it, probably alcohol or something, and disinfects me down there. That really didn't feel great. Then he had to grab my balls and feel the vas deferens. I think that is how you pronounce it, but I'm not sure. So basically the tube that carries the sperm. And that was one of the most uncomfortable parts about the whole procedure. I'd give it a 4 out of 10 for pain and a 7.5 for discomfort. After that, I honestly couldn't see what was going on because there was a drape in the way. At some point, I felt a snapping sensation, like someone just flicked my balls or something. That was a bit uncomfortable. And after that, I felt basically nothing anymore. He made the tiniest incision, like maybe about a centimeter or something, the size of my pinky, and cut the tubes, cauterized it, and repeated the same thing on the other side because you have 2 tubes. So yeah, he stitched me up with dissolvable stitches and gave me a quick rinse, and then I was already on my way out again. The discomfort throughout the whole procedure didn't come from pain per se, it just felt really weird. If someone ever kicked you in the nuts, you just feel it in your stomach somehow, you get nauseous, and that is what happened to me. Here's one thing that I thought was pretty wholesome. The doctor didn't ask me to pay in advance, and when I asked him why, because technically you could just walk out, right, and never pay, he answered that most guys who come in are actually pretty thoughtful and responsible if they consider such a procedure, right? And I thought that was really cool that he just trusts everyone. And it's apparently super, super rare that people he actually don't pay. Before we left, he offered me one last piece of advice. Get 2 beers, drink one and put the other on your balls and cool them. I don't drink alcohol, but I did understand the assignment. Recovery. Ironically, the procedure wasn't the hardest part. 5 minutes after we walked out, I fainted in front of a convenience store. I think it was a combination of being nervous and the stress finally falling off, and the heat, and also I didn't eat or drink much before going there. So if you're considering getting a vasectomy, please stay hydrated. Luckily, Sophie was there and got me something to drink while I was just laying in front of the store questioning my life choices. About 5 minutes later, I was completely fine again and we took an Uber home where I changed into sweatpants, and that was my life for the next few days. Once the anesthetic wore off, it felt like someone just kicked me in the nuts pretty hard. The first 2 or 3 days were definitely the worst, but it got better every day. And after a week or so, I was basically back to normal. I was working out again. I also did feel normal again because the first few days I was just walking around kind of crooked because everything felt odd and I just felt really old for some reason. The first few orgasms did feel a little bit weird, but that soon disappeared when everything healed up properly. FAQ. Here are some questions about my vasectomy that I keep getting a lot. Does anything still come out? Yes, visually you really can't tell a difference. Sperm cells make up a tiny fraction of semen, so everything looks like it did before. Does it feel different now? No, since it fully healed, everything feels like it did before. Did my libido change? No. Your testicles stay exactly where they are and they do continue to produce testosterone. The only thing that's different is that sperm can't exit your body anymore. How long until you're actually sterile? It does take a couple of months and about 30 or so ejaculations until everything is flushed out. And after that I had to provide 2 samples for my doctor until he basically gave me the green light. Which, by the way, did feel really odd, just casually walking into someone's home and leaving a cup of semen there. He also wrote me a message beforehand saying that if he wasn't there, I could just leave it in a mailbox and walk away. Do I regret it? Not even a little bit. I'm actually super happy that I finally did it. I'm a little bit of a crybaby when it comes to medical stuff, and that just really makes me uncomfortable. But yeah, the procedure was super easygoing. Everything was super quick. It was kind of cheap, to be honest. And I also think that it's insane when you compare that to sterilization in women, because they have to jump through a lot of hoops to get anything approved and done. And I could just walk to someone's house and get the snips. That doesn't work for everyone, but if you don't want to be a dad, or if you're a dad and don't want to have any more children, then I think it's something that is totally worth considering. Anyways, take care, guys.